Welcome to MMA Fancast. My name is Luke Payson. Welcome back to everyone who's already a subscriber to the show. If you're not already a subscriber, please subscribe so you can see more great interviews with MMA fighters from your area. And welcome to the show. First time guest of the show, about ready to make his 19th professional MMA walk. He's been fighting amateur since 2012. Chris Rollins, Chris Rocket Rollins, welcome to the show.
What's going on, man? Thanks for having me out. I appreciate it.
I thank you for coming on the show. Always honored to have any first-time guests of the show. Usually I'm catching fighters earlier in either their amateur or early pro career. You're obviously super well established. You're the number 2 ranked pro in Virginia, pro lightweight fighter at 155. What's it been like? Well, before we get to the main event at Live Cage Fights this coming Saturday. So this is fight week. Actually, I guess I'll ask first about fight week. Since it is fight week, I really appreciate you coming on, even in the midst of your weight cut. How's fight week going for you? What's it like being 6 days away from the main event at Live Cage Fights at down there in Morgantown, right on the waterfront?
It just feels like another fight week. Comes faster than what you think when you take the fights. 6 weeks out, whatever it may be, and then next thing you know, it's here. Just like anything in life, you'll never think you're prepared 100% enough, but you go in there and get it done. Had a good training camp. Shout out to all my guys who've been helping me. I don't like using the word excited, but I'm pretty looking forward to this. This is a good challenge, especially coming out there. He's a local guy. People come in to fight me in my local stuff. It's kind of the roles reverse, but something I've done throughout my career early on. I went to, New Jersey, Philadelphia, Rhode Island, places like that, fighting guys. So, something I'm not used to.
Yeah, I'm glad you're already used to kind of being a road warrior at times, obviously also fighting at home. Ethan is a guy, you already know that. He's a guy that brings out a lot of fans, and he was the main event last year at this event, which was held March 18th, but the same weekend coming up now, March 16th. So clearly, but the main event, how often, this late in your career, you're super well established. Is it pretty common for you to be fighting main event, co-main event type stuff? Is that something you've kind of gotten used to?
Yeah, like I said, this will be my 13th state as a professional. West Virginia will be. I don't know. I've lost track of the main events I've been in. It's been a lot, but it's pretty cool being the main event. But honestly, waiting in the locker room all night. Every state's different about what the rules are, letting you come out and stuff. But being locked down for 3, 4, 5 hours, waiting for the fight. It's just part of the game. You just gotta stay relaxed. But it's more cool for like the social media stuff being the main event. But it don't really. I'm honored to be the main event, but it doesn't really, affect me. It's more or less I've just got to wait it out and wait for the nights to go by. When you get teammates fighting on the card before you, if they win or lose, that affects you a little bit. But I'm coming alone on this one, so it's just kind of like a business trip out there, and then I'll just focus on me.
Well, it certainly is interesting. I've done a lot of interviews for this channel, and you're right. If you've got 2 or 3 fighters before you that are from your gym that you're friends with, them winning can really give you kind of some extra energy. And if it ends up becoming kind of a down night, that can affect you. It's kind of great that in a way, like you said, it's a business trip. It's like you're coming out, you've got your one thing to do, and then you'll head home. Let's talk about the fact that you're still pretty young. 34 years old to be entering your 19th pro fight. Plus, you got about 8 or 9 amateur fights. Let's roll the clock back. I know this is a long time ago, but what got you into MMA? You made your amateur debut October of 2012. So just kind of recap what was going on in your life that got you to MMA. And then the second part of that question is, what's kept you motivated to be still fighting now professionally, and you've been fighting professionally for 10 years because you made your debut in June of almost 10 years, maybe 9 years now. So talk a little about what got you into MMA way back in 2010, 2011 before your amateur debut, and what's kept you into it now 13 years later, or 14, yeah, something like that.
Yeah, just like I said, I've been competing since I was 4 years old. So what you figure, 31 years now. I've been never not competed. So once I got out of school, I was gonna go to college, play football. Things didn't work out. So I was like, I like contact. Sorry. I like contact. I always been an athlete, so I always was a fan of MMA. And then went to a gym, got beat up a little bit, and ever since then I was like, I got to keep coming back. I got to get better. And then made my debut, and I've pretty much been addicted to it ever since then. I'm in a small town, so over the years I've made a name for myself. Then started my own promotion, got my own gym going now. I've got 11 pro boxing fights. This would be my 30th professional fight combined with boxing and MMA. Boxed on the Jake Paul card, fought Evander Holyfield's son on Showtime. Fought Vito Mielicki in the bubble on PBC on Fox. So, I mean, that was in LA. Been around CES, CFFC, LFA. Pretty much been everywhere besides like Bellator, UFC, stuff like that, PFL. To be honest, I think this is one of the biggest regional fights going around with Ethan. He's 10-1, I think, professional boxer and MMA combined record 4-1 MMA, 5-0 boxer. The judges don't like me, but you are what your record is. But my record's a lot better than what they've given me, some losses. So really, I could see this fight. I promoted 16 shows, fought a lot. This is like to me, this could be on Contender Series. Honestly, it's the caliber of a fight. He's legit. I'm legit. We're both in our 30s. We're in our prime time as right now, so the fans are definitely going to be in for a good fight.
Wow. And I was going to bring up, it's still a good question. I was going to bring up the fact that you're on a 3-fight MMA streak. Obviously, Tapology does have your boxing in there. So I had to kind of look through. But before we get to your 3-fight win streak, I'm going to ask you about kind of like what's been working, what's been coming together. Because obviously, no matter how late you are in your career, the Miller brothers fought into their early 40s. I think one of the Miller brothers is still fighting the UFC. So you can still be developing your MMA game, throughout your career, regardless. Let's talk a little bit, because I heard you say that you've been a promoter and promoted your own stuff. So we'll take just a quick second from the fact you got this fight in your fight week. What's the learning process been like for you being a promoter? And as being a fighter, what do you think the pros and cons are? In other words, is it more stressful, more work, more rewarding to be a promoter or to be a fighter? Or do you kind of like doing both? Because you got a really cool perspective.
Yeah, the biggest thing, like I say, I've said this in other interviews before, but I've never pulled out of a fight personally. My whole career, never missed a weight. So just dealing with a lot of the weight issues, being a promoter fight week, it's kind of like when you're in school, people have the excuse why they didn't do their homework. It's like as fight week comes, it's like I know my phone's about to start blowing up, or why they can't make the weight, different stuff like that. Just trying to get everything, the medicals done from all the fighters. I mean, some do it great. Some, I'm not bashing anybody, but it's not. It's a lot of work just to get it to the fight. You can have it on the posters, but until they actually step in the cage and it's official, it's a hard process there behind the scenes.
Yeah, and I think the big thing, and you talked a lot of the things that people don't realize promoters do. I'm pretty connected to 247 Fighting Championships out of Pittsburgh, and they've had, from the promoter side, which it's worked out. These are things that have worked out. They've had runners, people in a car, pick up a fighter from the airport, run them to a certain doctor's appointment for clearances.
Yep.
You know how all it is, because out of state stuff and medicals sometimes don't transfer literally down to the wire. Now it all worked out, everything was fine.
Yep.
But if they hadn't set up all those things in motion, it would never happen. But I think one of the things that must be interesting from you from a psychological standpoint is being a promoter really relies on a lot of things outside of your control, like whether or not people are going to lie to you and say that they're on weight, but not. I've seen that happen where people have told the promoter, oh, yeah, everything's good. Maybe even their coaches think they're on weight, then they show up and they're not. I mean, who knows? And also sometimes, paperwork gets lost, all things out of your control. In a way, do you feel, and you're a pro's pro, you're about ready to hit 20 pro MMA fights, you're very close. But like you said, with pro boxing, you're already over 30 pro fights. Do you think in a way it's easier to just control yourself when you're the pro fighter? You've never missed weight. You always kind of know where your body is. You kind of know what prep work you need to do. In some ways, is that less work or less stress because you just control yourself versus being a promoter where you've got to, potentially have 26 different fighters, if it's a 13 fight card. And then sometimes I've been around promotions where a coach gets double booked. Maybe a coach double books himself. It's not really the fighter's fault. And then he pulls the fighter off the card because he can't make the fight. So overall, do you think it's kind of more focused when you're the fighter, just focusing on yourself?
Yeah, it's definitely easier doing that because, like you said, you're dealing with so many different fighters, coaches, and you have multiple fighters from the same gym on the card, want to be in the same
Oh,
locker room, and
yeah.
you don't have they don't want to be fighting back to back, and you got to
Can't
try to
fight
space
back
the
to
card
back.
out.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff goes behind the scenes. So I like try to pride myself on anything I do in life. I want to be 2 foot in. I don't want to have one in, one out. So as a fighter, promoter, whatever I'm doing, coaching, I'm committed to it. I'm not half in, half out. And I think that's why I've been able to stay around for so long and been on some big cards, putting on sellout shows and stuff like that. And then just being, up front, any promoter knows like, hey, if Chris signs to fight you, he's gonna do all his medical work. He'll do everything right. As a promoter, I'm not gonna lie to you about a guy that you're fighting this guy and not telling you. So I just want to, just be straight up. Your word is everything, and I think the word of mouth goes far. So, like I said, the fans will be in for a good fight. I know he's trained like every guy that I fight feel like they train the best. I'm like, God, watch a tape on them or something, they'll come in the best shape of their life. They're motivated to come take me out. But it's like that just pushes me to be even better. And I wouldn't want it anywhere else. I don't want nothing easy. I get tired of being in wars, but it's what you sign up for.
That is what you sign up for, particularly, and both you and Ethan. I'm sure you have ground games. I know that Ethan can win by submission, but I think both of you, because of the boxing experience, and I've seen him fight uh, live in MMA, you guys both kind of tend towards wars in the sense that you kind of like the throwing on your feet. Talk a little bit about, have you changed your training or gotten to a new gym, or kind of done anything different, because you are on a 3 fight MMA win streak that's stretched out over years because of your boxing in between there? Do you feel like stuff's coming together? You're about ready to break 500. Well, you would be 500 if you beat Ethan. You're 8-9-1 right now as a pro. But what do you think's put together your last three win streak?
I just think being more patient. I putting so much pressure on myself. I think the biggest key is since I opened up my own gym, coaching has made me a lot better and not overtraining. I feel like I was overtraining too much, just running myself in the ground, leaving the best me in the gym. Now I have to take breaks when I have kids classes and stuff. So I think that's been a big part of it. And the whole time I was boxing, I was working on my grappling and jiu-jitsu. And my first fight back from all my boxing fights, I ended up getting a submission. So I pretty much never. I was in boxing camp, but I would always help my guys that had fights coming up and spar them and grapple them. So I've won four. When you go to MMA, I've won four out of my last five, three straight. The one loss was to Brandon Marat in Rhode Island back in 2019 at CES. He's in the UFC now. I know I can compete with the best of the best, and next duel is this Saturday because we're Sunday now. You'll see
Yeah,
that. Like
yeah.
you'll be there live, right?
I'll be there live. Yeah, I'll
Oh,
be
yeah,
there
look
live.
forward to it.
Hats off to the promotion. They're having me come as media, so I always respect that when promoters give me an opportunity to come to cover it as media. So yeah, I'll be there. Can't wait to be to see the action. It's gonna be incredible. There's a lot of local fighters on it, which obviously, we talk a lot, as a promoter, that the the away corner, that's the one you got to worry about, right? Because the hometown
Yeah,
guys, typically the away corner makes or breaks the show, because you've got to
100%.
have them. You've got to have them, and that goes a long way for it. So absolutely, talk. I'm a former college coach, track and field, not
Yeah,
necessarily MMA related, but I know my brain. When you coach something, it's like you're learning it. I'd say even better. Is that old expression? The best way to learn something is to teach, right? Like you're. So what has it been like? You've been an established pro fighter forever. You opened up your gym a couple years ago. What was it like making that switch to being a coach? And mentally, what do you think that advantage is of being a coach now?
yeah. I think just going back to the technique, going back to the basics and just sharpening that off. Because as you train, you don't do as much basic stuff, and then when you're teaching people who's never done it before, especially kids, got to break it down over and over. Then I start seeing holes from the outside, and then when I jump back into training, then it works. And it's been cool just seeing all the kids like they've never done nothing like this where I live at. And then next thing you know, we're going to grappling tournaments. I got 8 to 12 kids. We're getting 7 or 8 golds, and it's just been pretty awesome to watch. And they watch me fight, and it's just been pretty cool. I never thought none of this was going to happen, and it just happened year after year with the work. And I'm happy. I had my son actually just did his first. He's 6. He did his first tournament. I think it was about 3 weeks ago, and he ended up winning. He got first. So, he's all about it. So it's pretty cool. Everything's coming full circle, and I'm just grateful to still be able to compete. But I take that, it's a testament to myself. I always, even when I don't have a fight, I try to, I'm always training, working out. It's a lifestyle for me.
What's the name of your gym and what's the name of your promotion?
The promotion is Rocket Combat Sports. We just had our 16th event last weekend. Then my gym is Rocket Boxing and Martial Arts.
Wow, way to use your fight nickname in it. That's really cool. But wow, what a way to be an entrepreneur on the promoting side, on the running the gym side. So that is just really cool. Obviously in the future, I'd love to continue to follow you as a fighter, but also it's rare, but occasionally I have coaches on or promoters on to talk about some of the other aspects of local MMA. So this has been incredible. Now, part of you being a pro for almost 10 years, 9 years now, has been obviously your ability to get sponsors, your ability to have people to be able to support you. You're obviously a dad, you've got a lot going on. Who are your main sponsors coming into this fight and the people that really kind of help you in your journey?
Yeah, I'd like to give a shout out to my partner, Brian Thomas. He's actually been training with me for 10 years. He owns the promotion with me. Him, Jake McLean. It's kind of cool. We kind of built together. They've been cornering me, and then now they're helping me on the promoting side. So we've kind of been around. Jacob Ashley, he's been in my corner for like 9 years, 10 years. I think he's been 11 or 12 states with me. We've just been, we're like a small team. We're like, I'll go cross train at different gyms to get good sparring in, but honestly, we got, anywhere from 8 to 12 guys on average training. I think that's a thing that's been able to have my longevity at the sport. I know when I've gotten older, I can't be going 100 mile an hour every day of the week. I can break it down and kind of set my things the way I want it to be done. And then I'll go travel out and test, against some other gyms when I go cross train. SGM Excavating sponsored me for a long time, sponsored my show, helped us get off Steve Maroney. I started my own brand, Full Time Fight Wear. Game Up Nutrition has helped me a lot. There's been a rack of sponsors over the years, but as of right now, people kind of tight. So sponsors have went up and down over the years, just with the economy, like everything.
Sure, sure. And if anybody's watching this and either you've sponsored the Rocket in the past or you're interested in, obviously reach out to him. That's something. You're right. Sometimes sponsorships kind of get like a tight knit group where it's only a couple, and sometimes you're able to welcome more people on. I've lost track of the number of businesses you have. You just mentioned you have a fight gear business too. So
Yeah,
all around entrepreneur. I like to watch Shark Tank and think about the entrepreneurs on there. You don't have time to watch Shark Tank. You're a
yeah,
professional MMA fighter. You run 3 or 4 businesses. You're a dad. But wow, you're doing it. You're working multiple small businesses at the same time. So hats off to you. I can't wait to see the main event for MMA live MMA fights event this coming Saturday, fight week for the Rocket. This coming Saturday, gonna be incredible. March 16th at the Waterfront in Morgantown, West Virginia. Just gonna be incredible. I really appreciate you coming on, particularly during fight week. It's gonna be awesome for people that want to see Ethan Hayes, your dance partner for that night. I also did an interview with him. I always encourage people to check out both interviews. Really gives both sides of the picture. But thanks so much for coming on. Always an honor to have a first-time guest of the show. Really appreciate you. Best skills to you, not only in the fight, but also best wishes to you in all your business endeavors and the promotion and everything else. I really appreciate it.
I respect that, and thank you for giving all the fighters a platform and from helping promoters and stuff like that. Bring fighters on. Like I said, I really believe this is one of the biggest regional fights going right now. He's on top of his game, I'm on top of my game. I'm ready to step in there and show that at 34 years old, I'm the best I've ever been, and I got 6 days to show it.
Can't wait to see it. You take care. Thanks so much.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
Got it.